welcome to GangStalking and Targeted Individuals. This show is being recorded. Anything said will go into the public domain. The public is entitled and encouraged to republish any part of this recording or all of it without permission, notification, or attribution. Today is Tuesday, March 29, 2011. To find more of these audios, visit VancouverWATI.com or TalkShoe. Search it for Vancouver or show number 87161. This will be episode number 1078, and here's what happened. Guest 9 showed up unannounced, as is always the case around here, and they typed into the chat room like so many others. They did not call in. I replied via my voice comments, and a short while into the conversation, I realized I had a live wire in the room, so I disabled everyone else from typing into the chat room. This disabled the ability of any perp mob from flooding the chat room with gibberish, which always happens when the conversation around here starts getting good. And by the way, I suspect I have communicated with this anonymous guest before, and for your information, I edited this conversation. That's very highly, I might say. That's why I call it a chat summary. It's also called editorial privilege or GangStalking according to Vancouver. And here it goes. Guest 9 started out by saying, most of the new perp blood are compromised before they even get here to the so-called TalkShoe community, because the websites that lead them here are chock full of perps. It's like an assembly line of perp making. A TI goes online with cooked results. They get to the perp TI website. They meet fake TIs at that site. They tell them, go to TalkShoe. And TalkShoe, the TI learns how corrupt everything is. I interjected, I agree. I learned a lot about the corruption in the TI process around here, but I doubt TalkShoe has anything to do with it. I just learned about how corrupt it was here. Guest 9 continues, the TI is coerced to contribute even more bunk on a TalkShoe TI call. I said, yes, there's a lot of bunk around these TI calls. Probably more than 50% of what you hear is not true. I think a majority of the TalkShoe call, what is said is BS. Guest 9 continues, and then one day the newly compromised TI has their own show. The older one can retire and go on to be handlers. It's perfect. It's friggin' sick. It's so well planned. I think it was at that point that I disabled the perp mobs from flooding the chat with gibberish. I think I realized I had a live wire on the line at that time. I thought I'd give it a chance in case it turned out to be something. Guest 9 continued, if you screen TIs online, they have a shelf life. So that means they get cycled through. With compromised TIs, until they get their act going. It's a really friggin' sick plan. The attrition rate of a pure TI doesn't look good to me. I've read blogs. They start out innocent, and then one day the TI disappears, or they get really nutty. Anyone with a TI, Guest 9 continues, can see how controlled the info is for TIs to view. The perps have the keys to the library. If knowledge is power, then having the keys to the library is paramount. I interjected. I found I had a very tough time finding this on Google, and the concept of cooked search results has entered my mind on this topic, never with any proof, of course. I would have had to know to search for the term gang stalking, but who's going to search for that? It took me 4 long years. Guest 9 continues, it seems with all TIs and online presence, who have an online presence, there's a shelf life before Mr. Pipe Wrench pays a visit. That's a fact, he or she goes. They said they suspected Mr. Pipe Wrench would pay me a visit one day. I said that's very sobering. Incidentally, I found this TalkShoe community in mid-August of 2010 and started my show, number 87161, at the end of August in 2010. Number 9 goes on to continue. The average TI blog with innocent content isn't very long-standing. The TIs either disappear, making you wonder what happened to them, which adds to the drama, or the TI gets really nutty. The nutty TIs are usually the artistic. But remember, all TIs have a shelf life. I asked him, him or her, please elaborate. It's a fact. People who have to fight for their lives don't quit unless they're dead. More and more I go. So it's no wonder if you find shows here with a 90% perpdom taking place. I reckon a real TI only comes online every 6 months or so here. And I find that a little bit surprising, or eyebrow raising. Maybe less. A new TI, I should say. Real TIs aren't as plentiful as fake TIs would make you to believe. I asked, are you speaking of a newly discovered TI? Yes, Van, I am. The numbers are very low. A new TI would find TalkShoe a viper's nest, ready to be pounced. Like I said before, TalkShoe is designed with cooked search results. It's a phony website, a fake community, fresh bait, a format with a cycle. For some reason, it's important for the perps to have a TI community in order to net new fish to their standards. A new recruit for a fake TI website. The fake TI community is the key to gang stalking. I don't get that, I asked. More, please. Guest 9 continues. Gang stalking creates victims. To control the victim, you have to capture them. Fake TI communities do that. Sorry, I'm still not with you, I said. Guest 9 interjects. I will be perp badly for speaking out here, but continues. The online community is tempered with controlled info, access to accurate info, and most importantly, to neutralize further. Please continue, I said. This has been most profound. Guest 9 continued. The internet is a great tool and detriment to new TIs. My personal intent has always been that exposegangStalking.com be pure, and I want to get the word out to to new TIs who don't know they're a TI yet, meaning the other 99%. It is exposed, said Guest 9. They want that. It's one step for the recruitment of the gang stalking web. I said is not exposed. It took me 4 years to find it. And I looked feverishly. I think I'm only the tip of the iceberg, the 1%. But Guest 9 continues. The TI community exists because the perps need it to exist. All the TIs online have a shelf life, much like perps. They must be cycled through like new TIs. Are you saying perps have a shelf life too? What happens to them when they're done? Yes, perps have a shelf life. They either move up the chain or they retire from service. The game requires fresh faces to succeed. I'm working on studying the demographics. Where do you come up with these theories? There was no suitable answer, by the way. But once again, where do perps go when they retire, as you say? Guest 9 says it's analytics, moving around here like groups of people. They have a pattern to their logistical limits, troop movement. Thank Alexander the Great. Now it's getting deeper, I said. Guest 9 says, study movement and control of people. Gang stalking is a natural evil. It's not a new concept. I need to remain vague on purpose. Remember 70% in shelf life. I go, the conversation was going so well before you went vague. There are two kinds of TIs, says Guest 9. Ones with faces and ones without. I go, here we go again. Normally, there are two kinds of TIs. The ones with the faces are skilled at the BS. Then there are the ones that are without, who are learning the ropes. More, I said, please. It's allowed to, the TIs that are allowed to expose their identities. Allowed, I ask? I could expose my identity any time, but there are so many crazies around here. No, you can't. You cannot say who you are. The visit from Mr. Pipe Wrench would be expedited. I hate the sound of that, I said. He or she said, and you will be compromised. I hate the sound of that, too, I go. You hate gang stalking, and you're gang stalked. TIs having options? TIs don't have options. That's the point. You can't blame them if they sell out to the dark side for self-preservation. Self-preservation is what drives this atrocity to work so well. If you want answers, look at your fellow TIs. They all contribute to a piece of the puzzle. I'm studying not the whys, but the hows. More, please, on that, I asked. TIs are compromised and useful. Useful to them, maybe. 9 says, they are basically a year out from where you're going to be. What? I asked. New TIs don't have a choice. They have a very narrow choice. From being a snitch, they have no choice. I mean, on another note, Guest 9 says, the preparation and skill used to gather a TI makes them a prized commodity. The spoils of war are never wasted. I said I never thought of that. Death is a fear tactic, not a demanded result. You don't throw away a rough diamond that was just robbed to the ground. You take care of it. You take care of that and add it in this community. Fake TIs beat you down, and when you finally submit, they will build you up again. Once you conform, but not until then. I said, you sound like a military guy, but I got no reply. Guest 9 continues on. The worst perp is a fake TI, and they are the most skilled. That's what makes TalkShoe a very deadly place, metaphorically. Please clarify, I asked. Guest 9 says, the perps who once were a TI are the deadliest. It's a natural progression. That's what I would have thought, I said. Guest 9 says, the personality types you find on TalkShoe are telling. A very important tool is to investigate the raw TI, the clayhead, if you will, to mold them into a snitch. TalkShoe is boot camp. Make no mistake. TIs are nothing more than soon-to-be perps. Make no mistake. That's raw, I go. They go, time is the only element. That's the variable in the equation. Really, really raw, I said. Guest 9 said, TalkShoe helps gather the intel needed to find out what that clayhead is willing to compromise on. And once that's outed, it's good night, pure TI, and hello, indoctrinated nut. Sigh, I type in. He or she made the comment, I'm risking my arse being online here, by the way. But we continued. But remember, the hamster wheel of GangStalking, for it to work,